Hey, what's up guys, it's Ghost from Ghost.art. Today we're going to be working on a pair of NMD R1s. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to put on a tie-dye print onto this, inspired by the latest Woodstock, Nice Kicks, and Ultra Boost collaboration. So it should definitely be fun and definitely one of the more vibrant customs you're going to be seeing. Alright guys, so for the first step, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and tape most of the shoe. We're going to be taping the pods, the sole, basically all the white paneling, just so, like when everything is taken off, there's a nice contrast between the tie-dye pattern and the white sole. And so what I like to do once everything is kind of on there, if you have any kind of like plastic card laying around, it doesn't matter, it could be your, credit card, license, whatever it may be. You just kind of want to go back over them just to ensure that the tape is on there real well, especially like in this crevices. When you go in, you kind of want to just press down, make sure that everything's intact. So when that airbrush does go in through, there's nothing seeping through or the tape is not flying up, just for kind of like the best quality result. And so that's a little tip for you guys. Real easy, real simple, and works great. Alright guys, so for the next step, what we want to do is get our Angelus paint and mix it with our 2 soft medium, just because it is fabric and we want that to kind of like soak up real nice and adhere to it. We got our yellow, just because it's kind of one of the lighter colors. We want to build up that gradient fade. So basically what we're going to do is just going to go ahead and start spraying the toe, just so the fade could kind of like build itself up onto the shoe. Alright guys, so now that the yellow is on here, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next color. So what you want to do is, get your brush cleaner. It works perfectly, just pour it on here. Just make sure it's, kind of clean relatively. Most of the colors are going to be mixed interchangeably, so it's okay if a little bit is left over. Once that's clean, you want to move on to your next color, and there's going to be a lot of back and forth going, but just make sure your brush stays clean in between, just so there's no buildup or any kind of mixture of the colors. So when doing fades, what I like to do is I always like to start light, so that any kind of like darker part that you want to go into, you can go back over it, as opposed to the other way around, which is impossible. So what I like to do is kind of start at a safe distance, just so we get a nice mist. So for the green, you want to go in above the yellow, just again to try to kind of fade the colors in together. Again, light mist, and then it should come out fine. When working with fades, what you want to do is you want to lay down your first colors, and to get that real nice smooth effect, you want to go back with the original colors that you started with to blend again back downwards. So now we're going to start in the opposite manner with the green, and then we're going to go back with yellow, then with orange, just so everything blends together nicely. Okay guys, so for the next color, we're going to move on to the infrared 2014 color. So now that we have our light pink color on there, we're going to go ahead and move on to the mixed color that I have. It's a little darker shade. We use fire red and infrared 2014 to get this. It's just again to get that nice transition between this color and the darker shades. And one reminder, just because the first colors that I sprayed were so thin, there's no need to really heat set them. But as you progress and the more paint you want to put on there, you definitely want to heat set it in between coats, just so that the colors don't soak in together and we get a nice and better fade. Another tip after using the heat setting, you want to make sure that the tape does stick on, because a lot of times the heat will lift the tape over. So you want to just make sure that after every heat setting, you want to go back in and just make sure that all the tape is stuck down, just so there's no overspray and you don't have to do any extra cleaning work after. Okay guys, so now that we have those colors down, we're going to go ahead and move on to the orange. Alright guys, so for this orange, what I did is I basically just got your basic orange and added some white to it, just because the orange kind of sprayed on fairly dark. So you gotta just lighten it up a little bit. There's no exact ratio to it, just kind of eyeball it, just so you get a lighter look when it is sprayed on. So for my take, as you can see, I'm painting it very symmetrical per se, just because I like my both shoes to match. You can see the fades are kind of facing in the same direction, kind of like the same amount as far as how far they go up. But again, if you guys decide to try this, you guys could always just, you know, go crazy and then, you know, mix match them, have different colors everywhere. It doesn't have to be exact. It's just kind of showing you guys the process on how I do a tie-dye. All right guys, now that the orange is on there, and we're gonna go back with the yellow. Like I said, there's gonna be a lot going back and forth just because we want to get those mixtures right. So we're gonna go ahead and get the yellow on there just so it kind of faded out onto the darker colors in the back.
Check it.
So for this color, I've been using blue turquoise. I did add some white again, just because we want kind of like a vibrant color. And again, you want to go really light because we want the colors to be as light as possible so that if anything goes down too dark, we can still kind of fix it. So.
Check it.
So for the tie-dye print, what I like to use is sometimes is the Angelus paint marker, just so I could kind of go in and draw the print itself, just so I know what's going to be airbrushed. For that, I use 2 thin and my purple, and it's just equal parts. You want to put them both into the marker, mix it up, shake it up a bit, and then paint as you go. If you notice that the paint is not coming out correctly, then you kind of go back in with 2 thin. But yeah, so ideally you want to go 1 part 2 thin, 1 part paint, and then we'll go from there. We're gonna go ahead and start putting the design onto the shoe just so we have a pattern that we could follow. What we want to do for the print itself, we want to go back in with just regular purple, but we want that really dark contrast over the light colors so it can really stand out. So for this next part, when we want to go over the print that we already have, you want to make sure that your airbrush isn't spitting too much, just because we want to go in there with fine details and, you know, just don't want to have any overspray on the already existing colorway. So once you go over and you have a lot darker, what you want to do is you want to go in with your stencil just to get those fine tips and it just doesn't look kind of sloppy. You want to go in and then you want to go in with the insides just to kind of create those fine lines in between the print. You could always, you know, put tape together or you cut it out yourself. Basically what you just want to do is so that everything comes out crisp. Now that we have our base color set up and our print ready, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside with a round 0 just for detailing, because there is a lot of white and blue highlights throughout. We just kind of want to go back and, you know, just accentuate those points of the shoe, so, you know, it all comes complete and it looks much cleaner and much better. Alright guys, so here it is, the completed NMD inspired by the Ultra Boost and Nike 6 collaboration, inspired by the Woodstock movement and the 70s vintage kind of psychedelic style. I think they came out great, nice contrast between the colors and the white. So thank you guys so much for having me. I hope to see you guys again. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can find me through Instagram at ghost.art. Thank you guys.